I'm out to impeach the president. I'm not going to be diverted by people who are Obama haters.
Do you think?
So did Democratic Congressman Maxine Waters shove TYT reporter Michael Tracey? So this is actually a very interesting story and really shows how things can get blown out of proportion. So I'm going to break this video down into essentially 3 different parts. So first I'm going to show you the full video, and then I'm going to give you both Michael Tracey and Maxine Waters' view of what happened. And then I'm going to give you reality, but then also show you the media and social media reaction. So first, let's start with the full video.
During a one-week span in March, I looked at your tweets, and around 60% had to do with this Russia issue.
Yes.
Do you think that's a proportionate focus for Democrats? Should it be overwhelmingly on this Russia matter?
Well, no, and this is it. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. And for people who say, you know, don't do this, you just should do that. Let me just say that I consider that protection of our democracy and understanding that Russia is not our friend and that they are undermining our democracy by hacking into our elections and trying to determine, as they have done, who should be president of the United States, and that's very important. At the same time, we fight very hard for health care. We're trying to preserve the ACA while they're trying to undo it with Trump care that's going to throw 34 million people out of health care. And so we know how to do both, and we're doing that.
When you say Russia's not our friend, was Obama mistaken to forge military cooperation with Russia in Syria and to try to get a START treaty?
Look, you and I have a different agenda, young man. I'm out to impeach this president. Get that straight. I'm out to impeach the president. I'm not going to be diverted by people who are Obama haters.
Do you think?
Woo, there you go.
Okay, there you go. She pushed me aside, but that's okay.
Okay, so my initial reaction to this. First, Michael Tracey asked 2 good questions. It doesn't make sense for Democrats to focus just on Russia right now, which that first question, it's a good question, but this is sort of the issue with how we are perceiving the Democrats right now with Russia. The reality is the media is focused on Russia, and the media keeps asking Democrats about Russia. Now, I'm not saying Russia's not a story, the impeachment's not a story. These are stories, yes, but our knowledge of what Democrats talk about is really only informed by what the media talks about. So if the media is just banging on Russia and just talking about Russia, then to us consumers here, to us viewers, it's going to appear like that's all the Democrats are talking about. When in reality, they're only talking about it because that's all the media asked them about. Now, his next question, I think, is better, and it's the one that she gets annoyed with. So Obama was trying to work a coalition with Russia to combat terrorism. So he brings that up. Is Russia an enemy when we were working with them under Obama? Now, that's when she gets annoyed, and she assumes that Michael Tracey is a right-wing reporter. Now, what the whole thing is about, the shove. Okay, Maxine Waters gets annoyed, pushes Michael Tracey aside slightly, just kind of swats with her hand. But she's not, like, smacking him across the face. She's not shoving him down the stairs. She's, like, getting him out of the way. She looks annoyed. She's agitated. She gets him out of the way with her hand, and then walks away. That's the extent of it. Now, why did this blow up? It really blew up because Michael Tracey tweeted this. Representative Maxine Waters just shoved me and angrily stormed off as I asked her questions. Not a violent shove, but she initiated physical contact. So I'm going to have a slight defense of Tracey here, but also be critical of him. So in his defense, he mentions that it wasn't a violent shove. Good, because it wasn't. But at the same time, the shove, the quote-unquote shove, I don't think shouldn't even be part of the conversation. Like that part is so inconsequential, it doesn't matter. That shouldn't be mentioned in the tweet. There's no point to reference it. He could have just said, Maxine Waters stormed off as I tried to question her on Democrats' focus on Russia. Not about this shove storming off. So, no, there was no real shove there. It was just her pushing him out of the way. That whole shit's way blown out of proportion. And it's unfortunate that he did that because it really undercuts the content of the video. Now, I want to get to the cameraman response here. So Maxine Waters is going to paint TYT or Michael Tracey as right wing, and so will Joy Reid. I'll get to these 2 points in a second. But first, I want to show the cameraman response. Also pay attention to the shirt that he's wearing.
Yeah, Michael Tracey asked a question about Barack, and then
we were just in a normal interview setup.
Interview.
Right?
No, your tone was great. You just asked the question, and she got frustrated. I could tell when she got frustrated because she turned like this to look at you, really.
Right.
And that's when I shifted. She was like, "I ain't got time to get out of my way." And she was like, "Oh, sorry." And then she's like pushed her out the way. There's no need. She could have just said, "I can't."
Right. She could have walked away. I wasn't obstructing her path at all, right?
No. You
And
guys
she
were
did.
side to side.
And she did initiate physical contact with me.
She absolutely did. It's on the video.
Yeah. And you would call it a what? A push, a shove, something
I
like
would
that?
call it a push.
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
I would call it a hit.
It wasn't excessively violent, right? I'm not hurt or anything
I
remotely
it was
like that.
Extremely violent.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that bad. But still, she did. I mean,
She did do that. Yeah, it's out
She
of pocket.
pushed me out of
You can
just
look at
out
the
of
video.
out of anger or pique. It wasn't as
Yeah.
if I was even in her way.
Yeah. No, she was. It was completely out of pocket, out of line. I think that was the wrong way to handle what she did, regardless of how you feel about Barack. I think Barack is Black Jesus too, but still, you can't do that.
And just to be
especially
clear,
as a congresswoman.
the reason that I brought up Obama was because that she had gone on the, she went up to the podium
Yeah.
and said that Russia's not our friend. And I said, well, just 6 or 7 months ago, Barack Obama was negotiating military cooperation agreements with Russia and tried to pursue friendlier relations with Russia. So was that mistaken on his part? And I thought that was a pretty fair question, I thought.
Very fair.
I had other questions too, but she stormed off. But anyway, I just wanted to get on the record.
You can't. She's black. You can't talk about Black Jesus in front of black people.
All right, I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay, so I wanted to show that video for a couple reasons. First of all, the t-shirt that the cameraman is wearing says Jurassic Prick. It's with Trump's head on it. It's supposed to be Donald Trump's a prick. Jurassic Prick, play on Jurassic Park. So, I mean, if Maxine Waters or anybody has any questions about this being right-wing media, these guys don't support Donald Trump, just so it's clear. Okay, and again, Michael Tracey does a good job at defending what his question was and why he asked her that question. I mean, it's worth being aware here that Michael Tracey is the one that put out this video. Like, it's not as if Michael Tracey claimed, oh, Maxine Waters shoved me, it was terrible, and then somebody leaked a video later from like a faraway cell phone cam showing that he was never actually shoved. No, he put the video out. It's their video. So he knew very well what was in the video as he posted it and tweeted these things. So it was not like he was trying to hide it. Now, let's get to Maxine Waters and Joy Reid's response to what happened.
She pushed me aside.
And despite that laughter, Michael Tracey went on Twitter and claimed that you shoved him. Your response?
Well, if you take a look at the video, you can see that that's not true. You know, the right wing have all of these people harassing me, following me around, trying to intimidate me. And, you know, I'm surrounded oftentimes, or I'm met on several occasions at an event like this by different ones of them. They want me to go away. But, Joy, I'm not going anywhere. They can't intimidate me. I'm not afraid of them. And certainly, you know, this 125-pound woman is not around pushing these big men. And so he just lied. If you look at the video, it shows you there was no pushing. I walked away from him. And so they're going to continue harassing me, but that's okay. I'm accustomed to being harassed, and I'm not afraid of them. And I'm going to continue to speak my mind in the way that I do. I'm calling for the impeachment of this president, and I want the facts to come out to confirm that they colluded with the Kremlin and with Putin.
So there you can see Maxine Waters is kind of confused on who Michael Tracey is. Now, in terms of Michael Tracey, his own politics, I don't know where he stands. But TYT and Michael Tracey and these reporters in general, they're independent is really what they are. And the question that he was asking Maxine Waters wasn't from a right-wing perspective. It was simply about pointing out the hypocrisy of supporting Russia when Obama's in power and then acting like Russia's the enemy when Trump's in power. That's all it was about. That's not a right-wing angle. That's just simply fact and asking, isn't there a problem here? That's fine. Michael Tracey should ask that question. But here's the thing. Maxine Waters is not used to being asked tough questions from liberals. And that's why she acted the way she did. She thought because Michael Tracey was questioning her position on Russia that he's somehow right-wing. No, that doesn't mean he's right wing. He's being a reporter and he's asking you a simple, or not a simple, but a good question on your position on Russia. As a reporter should. They should be questioning people in power. That's the whole point of the media. But Maxine Waters isn't used to that. And apparently neither is Joy Reid, member of the media. When retweeting the Michael Tracey video, she said this: "We now rejoin the right's desperate bid to rebrand the party of Trump, Gianforte, and the ethno-nationalist alt-right as the real victims." And again, TYT is not right-wing. So she's just not used to journalists asking a liberal a proper question unless they're from the alternate party. And it really just shows you how screwed up the mainstream media is. Now, the last part to this that I love, because I love funny things, are the, I guess you can call them memes in this case. I don't even know if they are really considered memes, but the parody response of what happened to Michael Tracey. There was some really funny tweets, and the person that did the best at this was from the Shrillest. So he had a really funny series of tweets on what happened with Michael Tracey. "I stand with Michael Tracey. Nobody should have a piano dropped on their head such that they stumble out of their wreckage with keys for teeth. And I disagree with Michael Tracey, but it's unacceptable that Maxine Waters swung a large wrecking ball into his body, carrying him through a wall." So just some funny humor to sum up this entire story, which there really is no story here. There was no shove. Michael Tracey should not have focused on the physical contact, which wouldn't have amounted to more than like a light touch on his shoulder as she's tried to push by him. And the actual story here, if there is one, is the fact that Maxine Waters didn't answer a fair question from Michael Tracey. But Michael Tracey's focus on the shove rather than her avoiding the question is kind of what did him in here.